up and say, I know I'm going to get some feedback for this and all that. No. Just say it. You're telling the truth.
That's right.
And if any black person says they'd like to be in Africa, they're lying.
Yeah.
There's racist
no, we
people
have a
in
ship for
Africa is just as bad. What was Rwanda? Those were black people that killed each other. The blacks didn't like the other blacks because they had keen features. What is tribalism? They fight each other. They kill each other. They have slaves.
That's right.
Yes, they do.
Now, Brother Peterson, I just want to ask you a question, then I'll hang up.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever hear anything from the Black Caucus when Obama was president? I forgot they were there.
That's right. The Black Caucus is no good. Maxine Waters and all those folks that are part of that caucus are evil. They're using black people. Maxine Waters' district is right down the road. I used to live in her district. Maxine Waters has been there probably before I was born. That area is so bad, she does nothing for her district because Maxine Waters is about power and wealth. She even allows the aliens to come in, and nearly every day there are fights in the public schools between blacks and Hispanics. Blacks are being forced out of their own communities, and Maxine Waters does nothing. They don't care, and now all of a sudden that President Trump is in there, he's going to make things better. Here come Maxine Waters and others pretending to care about the black folks in the black community. They don't.
That's it. Okay, and thank you, Russell. Let me ask this question, another email. Can your guest explain how the Black Lives Matter movement is worse than the KKK?
Because a couple of reasons. One is that the so-called Black Lives movement encourages anger and hatred toward the races. They're blaming white police officers and white people for the problems of black folks, which is causing blacks to hate even more. And when you hate, you kill the soul. What does it profit a man that he kill his soul and preserve his body? Whereas the KKK, when they were doing what they did, they were only able to affect the body of some blacks and not their souls, because during that time, black people, for the most part, knew not to hate. And so by deceiving black Americans, Black Lives Matter are worse than the KKK.
Okay. All right, let's go to Marion in Texas. Marion, welcome to Sun Life Broadcasting. You have a quick question for Reverend Peterson.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I really thank this program for opening up the eyes of the black people, because when I was growing up, we didn't have anything against whites.
That's right.
That's it.
My grandmother didn't teach it. I'm 80 years old, and I thank the Lord for that. I don't have that in my. I love everybody. But I wanted to ask the question about where did slavery begin? Do we know where slavery actually began?
Well, slavery's in the Bible. Go ahead, Brother Peterson.
No, you're right. I mean, we read about it in the scripture, so it's always been around, and it's always been about economics instead of the color thing. So slavery wasn't new. Black people were not the first to be enslaved. But it's been around forever.
This is what's going on. Black people think that when we came to America, that was the first beginning of slavery. I don't know where it came from, but I would like to know where did, even in the Bible, how did it begin? Was it a race of people, or what was it?
The first record that we have clearly in the Bible is when Israel was in Egypt and Pharaoh made slaves out of them, and God delivered them whenever they cried out to him. And that's what we need to do today. We need to cry out to the Lord, and he's the only one going to fix this.
Yeah.
But slavery's been around a long, long time.
Yeah. And you know something else, Marion, the black race, they forget how the Jews have been treated.
Yes, they do.
I mean, look in World War II. I mean, the death camps, the ovens. Blacks have not been subjected to that. And now, if they were in some of the African countries, that might be true. but not to the ones here in the United States of America. This thing needs to heal. And Brother Peterson, we're just about out of time, but I pray that you let us know that you've sold a lot of books as a result of this program. But I want to give you time to address those that have been listening today.
Believe it a lie. And so, and when you're angry like that, you're sinning. So they're enslaved to sin, not physical slavery. Mm-hmm. You know, friends, I got to thank you so much and for having me on. I mean, it's mind-blowing that you're so bold that you have me on. So thank you very much, and we will let you know. I want all of Americans to know that our battle is a spiritual battle. Right. It's a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong. And we need to restore God's order. That order is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. And that men represent Christ on earth. They are the Christ on earth. That's why they are hated so much, because they represent Christ. And evil understands that if it can get rid of the man, then evil can usher in and deceive and control the people. And so to all men, because white men are under attack right now, white men are called woman hater, racist, and all that crap, because they want to get rid of him so they can take over the white family. But we need to bring back order, the God's order, and black Americans need to drop their anger. They need to forgive their mothers and grandmothers. They did the best that they can do. And they need to return to their fathers by forgiving their fathers for not being there for them. And when because God said there will come a day when I will return the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. That means adult children and young children. So when they return to the Father, he's going to make them whole again, and they're going to see that white folks are not waking up every morning at the breakfast table trying to figure out how to keep the Negroes down. White folks are trying to live their lives, pay these taxes, and do the right thing. So we got to restore family. You must overcome that anger by repenting so that God can forgive you. This is the greatest country in the world. Everybody and their mama are trying to come here. Yeah. I don't see anyone leaving. And we must bring back that spiritual order. And read The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. Once you read that book, it's a very important book. It's an honest book. Once you read that, you're going to see it's spiritual and not physical.
That's exactly right. Thank you, brother, for being with us. Our prayers are with you, and we want you back on the program. You've been a blessing to us today here in the studio, and I know you've been a blessing to those that have been listening this morning. And thank you for being with us. Now, our time's up. We've got to go, and I want to encourage you to go buy this man's book. And I think if you would read it with an open heart, it can help you extremely, especially our black community and those that say they're Christians. We need to get rid of this hatred and anger that's in our heart. We love you. God bless you. Thank you for being with us today.
Email questions and comments about today's program to onair@jsm.org. Be sure to join Francis Swaggart on Facebook at facebook.com/Francis Swaggart. Archived programs are available at sunlifetv.com. Francis and Friends is a production of the Sun Life Broadcasting Network.
To order the book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood, from today's guest, Jesse Lee Peterson, call 1-800-496-3266 or go to superstore.wnd.com.
To order your free subscription to the Evangelist magazine, call toll-free 1-800-288-8350. That's 1-800-288-8350. We'll get you started right away. Thank you for watching the Sun Life Broadcasting Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pastor Gabriel Swaggart, and if I were you, as a believer, I would have personally in my library as many books as possible that helps me to better understand the Word of God. And we have a plethora of material regarding how that you can better understand the Word of God and your walk with the Lord Jesus Christ. And we've got 2 books written by my grandfather, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest writers around. And, of course, that is just my opinion. But he's got 2 books that we would like to present to you half off. Half off. The first one, The World, the Flesh, and the Devil, a term that the early church fathers coined many years ago. This will be a blessing. And Rape of a Nation. Both of these half off. You can see the number right there on the screen. Go online and get your copies of these 2 books immediately.
Join Family Worship Center associate pastors for these upcoming meetings. Get the complete associate pastor meeting schedule at jsm.org. From evangelist Jimmy Swaggart, its burdens are lifted at Calvary.
Burdens are lifted at Calvary.
Burdens Are Lifted at Calvary is 10 studio tracks, including 2 songs never before recorded by Brother Swaggart.
Only the blood can save the sinner.
Burdens Are Lifted at Calvary, anointed songs that will guide you to the peace and assurance in knowing that the Lord will bring you through every heartache.
Touching Jesus is all that matters.
Get the music CD from evangelist Jimmy Swaggart. Burdens Are Lifted at Calvary. Call 1-800-288-8350. That's 1-800-288-8350. Or shop online at jsm.org.
American Family Association, a ministry with a mission to inform, equip, and activate people like you to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and to give aid to the church here and abroad in her task of fulfilling the Great Commission. We couldn't do it without your day-to-day support. Together, we are making a difference. American Family Association. Find us online at afa.net.
You're listening to WXPS LP 92.1 FM in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
You're listening to WXPS LP 92.1 FM in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
If you have a need and you need fellow believers to agree with you in prayer, please let us here at WXPS know by emailing or calling. We will pray over your needs as a part of our ministry to you. Our email address is prayer@truthchapel.org, and our phone number is 864-327-8725. Let us hear from you anytime, and let us know also when the Lord answers that prayer. Again, that is prayer@truthchapel.org, or call 864-327-8725. And thanks for making WXPS 92.1 FM Sound of Truth Radio a part of your walk with the Lord.
Is Jesus all that I need?
You're listening to WXPS LP 92.1 FM in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
This is American Family News Week in Review. I'm Chad Groening, and these are some of the stories we covered for you this week. With the devastating damage to the Houston area in the wake of Hurricane Harvey, motorists had to deal with a spike in gas prices this past week. AAA's Tamara Johnson.
Since August 21st, the national average 30 increased about 31 cents. We do anticipate that it will go higher in the coming week. We can see this topping out at about $2.75 at a national level. It's even higher in some parts of the country, especially in the Gulf and along the north.
But Johnson says she anticipates that this price spike will be short-lived and will close out the year with low to moderate gas prices. It happens after nearly every natural disaster. But some people think that trying to prevent merchants from increasing prices does not help. AFN's Chris Woodward had that story.
Mark Perry, a professor, American Enterprise Institute scholar, and blogger, says the economics of this are very simple.
When you have a disruption in a local market, like now in the Houston, Texas area, then of course there's going to be certain supplies, goods, services that are going to be in high demand and in very short supply, at least temporarily. So the price system or the price mechanism or market prices do a very good job of accurately reflecting the relative scarcity of a good or a product or a service. And so after a disruption in the market, of course, many, many things are going to be in relatively short supply and their relative scarcity has increased.
In other words, Perry sees it as a natural market force that the price of those goods and services and critical supplies are going to go up to reflect the new market conditions that have been completely disrupted and distorted by a natural disaster. As a result, Perry says there's only going to be two choices. One of them is to allow market prices to take effect. The second choice would be to have price controls or price gouging laws that prevent the prices from going up.
That does is it guarantees that the shortages and scarcities are going to last much longer, and it's going to slow down the recovery process.
Still, a solution will not come easy. One state attorney general's office tells AFN that raising the price of necessities in the wake of a disaster is price gouging. I'm Chris Woodward.
According to a recent poll in England, for the first time, more than half of Brits are non-religious. AFN Steve Jordahl took a look at the numbers to determine if there's anything to learn over on this side of the pond.
53% of the English describe themselves as having no religion, and among those 18 to 25, the percentage rose to a shocking 71. Dr. Richard Land of Southern Evangelical Seminary studied in England in the 70s and saw the trend starting even then.
They got there because of the wolves in sheep's clothing that have been the Christian leaders in the Church of England and in too much of the church in Britain. You lose confidence in Scripture, you deny Scripture, and it just keeps going.
One of the clearest examples of that loss of fidelity to Scripture came in the latest general meeting of the Church of England this past July.
It's a great pleasure and a privilege to stand before you today and to bring this motion from the Blackburn Diocese on welcome and affirmation for trans people in the Church of England.
The motion passed by a large margin, and now Anglican churches in Great Britain are considering things like baptizing people into their new gender. Len says people are looking for pleasure rather than truth.
It's not that these people are atheists. They don't have enough faith to be atheists. They don't have enough conviction to be atheists. Just self-idolatrous, the modern holy untrinity of I, myself, and me.
And he warns we are one generation from being in the same boat here in America, unless there's a move of the Holy Spirit.
That's what America must have. A reformation that shakes America for Jesus, the way Luther and Calvin shook Europe and the way Whitefield and Wesley and Edwards shook colonial America for God's kingdom.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
Remember, you can access American Family News 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when you log on to the World Wide Web at onenewsnow.com. That's onenewsnow.com. And that is American Family News Week in Review. I'm Chad Groening.
Another school year looms on the horizon, bringing with it shopping trips for school supplies, shoes, and pants that reach beyond mid-shin. The American Family Association reminds you that Target's open-door, restroom, and fitting room policy continues, and we urge you to steer clear of Target. Access to you and your children in areas which should be private and safe is not acceptable. Visit AFA.net to learn about efforts to influence Target to reverse its policy. AFA.net.
Now the weather forecast for Spartanburg and vicinity. For this afternoon, we'll see sunny skies, high of 76. Wind from the southwest, 5 miles per hour. Clear skies for tonight, low of 56. Our winds will be light and variable. Friday, we'll see plenty of sunshine with a high of 81, overnight low of 58. Our weekend outlook will see mostly sunny skies through the weekend with a high in the upper 70s for Saturday and middle 70s for Sunday. For 92.1 WXPS, I'm meteorologist James Covington.
And right now in Spartanburg, plenty of sunshine, and it's 70 degrees.
This is Your Lunch Hour with Scott Corbin on WXPS FM 92.1 and online at WXPSFM.com.
Yes, it is, and this version of Your Lunch Hour is September Radiothon, and we welcome you into the Radiothon today. We're so glad to have you as a part of this beginning hour of the Radiothon, and we've got some great things to tell you about. I'll tell you, it's going to be exciting this month on the Radiothon. A lot of things we just need to talk about, let you know about, and we're going to be doing that. Let me say, first of all, though, the weather here in Spartanburg today, it's like fall has arrived early. So grateful for that. Like I said a moment ago, plenty of sunshine here. It's clear blue skies and only 70 degrees, so what a blessing that is. However, I guess we maybe can't enjoy that quite like we normally would for thinking about what may be coming next week. And, of course, I'm talking about Hurricane Irma and things that have already been done by that hurricane in the islands in the sea and then headed toward Florida, they say. I firmly believe, though, as Christians, we should pray that this thing be turned back to sea, just dissipate and become nothing. I believe we as believers, I believe the Lord wants us to pray that way and expects us to pray that way. Now, if God chooses not to do that, we will deal with the issues at hand that come about as a result of that in whatever areas, and the Lord will help us through those things. But I do believe that our prayers should be along those lines. So we're going to be praying that way and encourage you to do so as well. But at the same time, since we're heard over the internet and all over the world and not just here in Spartanburg, I would say to those who are in areas that may be hard hit, if it continues on the way that the weather forecasters say, certainly use common sense as well and be prepared if it does come about the way that they say. Our time now is 10 minutes after the top of the hour, and we're here doing what we do every month, and this is the weekend to do it here for September, and that is we have a goal of $1,200 to raise for radio ministry. That's all the typical expenses that we raise money for. We'll go through those maybe in a little bit, but I want to say, first of all, we are already over halfway there, thanks to some very thoughtful and generous givers who have already given, knowing that the Radiothon was about to happen. That's right. As you see on your screen there, we are at $630, over halfway there to that $1,200 goal. And let me run down the list now of all the donors so far and properly thank them over the air. We have the Taylor family giving $200. Rebecca is giving $50. We have an anonymous gift of $30. Sid is giving $100. Jane and Bobby are giving $100. RTS Adventures $50, and Jimmy is giving $100. If you add it up, folks, that's $630 already, and we can't thank you enough that we've been able to get started in such an awesome way. And we've got a lot to talk about as far as a new door that the Lord has opened. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But, Nikki, before we get into that, why don't you tell them how to get in touch with us if they want to give in this Radiothon today?
All right, so you can give. The easiest and quickest way, I believe, is to go to our website, truthchapel.org, and click on the donate link, and it will take you to PayPal, and you can give safely and securely. That way, we'll get notified of that donation if you would like to do it that way. Or you can give us a call at 864-327-8725, and if no one answers, then just leave a message and we'll call you right back, and we can take your credit or debit card information over the phone. Or you can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. But if you're going to do so, still go ahead and give us a call at 864-327-8725 so we can go ahead and record your donation to include it into today's totals.
Right. And I think that with the momentum we have already in getting started at 6:30, I think we're going to quickly reach that $1,200 goal. And we're looking forward to doing that, maybe quicker than we've ever done on a Radiothon. Except I do remember there was one time that someone gave, I believe it was, they give either $500 or $1,000 up front. It was back when we were at a $1,000 goal. And they gave a very sizable gift toward that goal. So that may not set a record even if we reached it during this hour. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, we need your help. And just to remind you right quick, we pay $500. Actually, I think you said last time it was about $520 for a tower rental space.
$530, I think.
About $530 every month for that. So that makes up almost half of the goal that we have every month. We've got to pay the tower company, or our antenna will be coming down. And then we will not be doing what we do here if we're not able to reach out via FM. So we have that expense. We also, at that tower site, we have power and internet bills back here at the church in the studio room. We have power. We have 2 internet connections. We have 2 telephone lines. And then we have all the hosting fees. We pay audio hosting fees and video hosting fees. And even though some of the social media outlets that we're on now that really are a great, great advantage and blessing, like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Periscope, etc., they don't charge us anything, but we've got to pay a host to get that signal to them.
Yep.
And the reason we do it that way is because if we tried here at the church to connect to all of them individually, we would have to have a faster, or I should say not faster necessarily, but more bandwidth on the internet connection, and that would really be cost prohibitive for where we are right now. So we pay a video host to get it out on visionoftruth.tv and on the Roku channel, and then that video host also takes it and sends it from there onto Facebook Live and YouTube and Twitter, Periscope. And then we have audio hosts for those of you listening on WXPSFM.com or on TuneIn. We're paying a fee every month to an audio host to make that possible. TuneIn, again, doesn't charge us anything, but we've got to get it to the service called TuneIn in order for you to be able to listen to it. So I think that's I think last time we covered a few more things, like our Dropbox account that allows our broadcasters to send their programs to us, and a few things like that that we haven't talked about a whole lot before. But last month, I believe, was our first month to have a $1,200 goal. We added it all up. We looked at everything that was pertaining to radio, although you know, you really can't say for sure what portion of the power bill at church goes for radio, but we estimated as close as we can, and we came up with a $1,200 goal that is much more accurate than the $1,000 goal. So that's why we do what we do here every month. We don't spend any time, as those of you that listen regularly, you know that we don't spend any time the rest of the month except for a 30-second spot here and there telling you that we need your help. But we do come on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, one time every month, and it's only for a few hours each day. And we appeal to you, the listener, to help us out and help us stay on the air, because if we don't do that, if we don't raise this money, then we don't have any other way to get it. We don't sell airtime to preachers. Everybody that's on this station is people that we invite. We do not sell advertising. All the ways that a radio station normally makes a lot of money, we don't make any money that way. And our goal is not to make money. Our goal is to raise the funds right now to stay on the air. So that's where your money goes to. It goes directly to keeping this on the air. And as I always do, maybe I'll let you do it this time. I want to appeal to the FM listeners here in Spartanburg. Somebody may be listening today on their lunch hour in their car or at work here in Spartanburg. And I just want to say, we're going to talk about this other need we have in a few minutes that we want to first bring out here on the Radiothon. We're going to appeal to you to help out with that, those of you in Spartanburg especially. But if you're in Spartanburg and you're blessed by this radio station, but you've never given before, I just want to tell you, we really, really need your help. We would appreciate it so very, very much if you could call us up or get on the website or mail it in, however you choose to do it. If you mail it in, call us and let us know it's coming so we can include it in the totals. But do something, even if it's only $5 or so. Do something. Any young people listening, like our kids have done before, if you've got $1 to give or some change to give, whatever, call us up. Let us know that's what you want to do, and that's what God has made available through your hands to give into this ministry. We need you, and we are just on the, let's go to a song and come back and maybe talk about the door that the Lord has opened. But I'll just say this to go into the next song. We need you to be a part of this ministry if this ministry is a blessing to you, because the Lord has opened a door for this ministry to branch out and reach a whole lot more people than we've been able to reach right here in Spartanburg in the past. So when we talk about that in a few minutes, I want Spartanburg people to get on board with us, and I want those of you online, way outside of Spartanburg you may be, but I want you to get on board too, simply because we always are taking what happens here in the church and reaching out as far as we can around this world through the internet with that. So everything that benefits the church, everything that the Lord is doing through the church, ultimately should be a blessing to those by media as well. So we don't feel bad about saying, hey, if you can help out, if you believe in this, if you hear what we're saying, let us know what it is maybe that you can do. And so we're going to talk about that in just a moment. It's exciting. We can't wait to present it to you, the radio listeners, as we presented it to our church this past Sunday. So keep it right here on the Radiothon on FM 92.1. WXPS, and online, WXPSFM.com, visionoftruth.tv, Vision of Truth on Roku, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. We've got you covered, and thank you for being with us today. We'll be right back after this song.
In my darkest hour, when I couldn't find my way, Lord, you were there to hold my hand. When I felt defeated and my strength began to fade, oh Lord, you were there to help me stand. And in triumph and success, when it's been my turn to shine, there's no doubt about it, it was you all the time. Oh Lord, you have been faithful, oh, to me. Lord, you have been faithful to me, to me. Said you'd never leave me, said you'd never leave me, and you kept your word, always kept your word. You're a rock, steadfast and stable. You're everything you said you would be. Oh Lord, you have been faithful. Lord, you have been faithful. Lord, you have been faithful to me.
When my friends all left me, they turned around and walked away. Oh, but the Lord was there. He came and dried all my tears. And in the dark of midnight, when my heart was so afraid, Lord, you were there to calm all my fears.
Now I can face tomorrow and the struggle it might bring. I've got sweet assurance you'll be there to stand by me. Oh Lord, you are so faithful to me. Lord, you have been faithful to me, to me. Said you'd never leave me, said you'd never leave me, and you kept your word, always kept your word. You're a rock, steadfast and stable. You're everything you said you would be. Oh Lord, you have been faithful. Lord, you have been faithful. Lord, you
Lord, you've been faithful to me. The Family Worship Center Resurrection Singers on FM 92.1 WXPS. You know, I was just thinking that tomorrow night is the night that Gabriel Swaggart will be in Athens, Georgia for his rally. And a lot of those singers, I'm sure that you just heard on that recording, will be there. So we encourage everybody to go who possibly can. And you read on Facebook today that Sister Swaggart stated that she and Brother Swaggart would be there.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. That's going to be an added bonus and treat for everybody to get to see them, as well as Gabriel and all the singers and musicians. So that'll be a great blessing. It's the Classic Theater, I believe it's called, in Athens, Georgia, taking place tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So if you're in driving distance, I hope you can go and be blessed by that. Also, let me mention that this is the week that Brother Carl Brown is at New Beginnings Family Worship Center in Bessemer City, North Carolina. I know some from our church have talked about going to that. Some of them maybe even went, let's see, some are going tonight possibly, right? Possibly. And some are thinking about another night. But we can give you more information on that maybe later this hour if I can remember to pull up that information and give you the address of the church. But it's Pastor Ronnie Simmons, New Beginnings Family Worship Center, service tonight and tomorrow night at 7, Saturday night at 6, because they're having an outdoor singing Saturday night, and then also Sunday morning at 10. They'll be having their homecoming Sunday, just like we had this past Sunday. So a lot of great things to take part in this weekend if you possibly can. And if you're not going to be at either of those places, or well, Athens is just a one-night thing, but we want you here Sunday morning at Truth Chapel. Those of you here in Spartanburg and within driving distance, Sunday morning, 10 a.m., right here at Truth Chapel. Sunday night at 6, and joining us, we hope, by radio and online if you just can't make it. All right, we're doing Radiothon today. I'll be back at 5 o'clock live. Nikki will be as well, I think. And so we've got 2 hours to do today total. We'll be here tomorrow as well, and then Saturday morning as well. So we have a $1,200 goal for radio, and we are at $630 toward that goal already. We'd love to hear from you via PayPal. Just go to our website, WXPSFM.com, and click on the donate button. That'll take you to PayPal if you want to do it that way. Also, you can call us. We can accept credit and debit cards over the phone, as we've done the last few months. That phone number is 864-327-8725, 864-327-8725. And then also call us if you're going to be mailing in a check or a money order, just so we'll know that it's coming. Tell us your name and tell us the amount, and we can include that in the totals this weekend. That mailing address is Post Office Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. For those of you watching on Facebook or YouTube or Vision of Truth, however, the information is there on your screen, right under the slide that's showing the current amount and showing the contact information. It's always there in the gray area, the phone number, the mailing address, and the website. So take advantage of that. And go give online if you could, please. If not, give us a call are the best ways. And we can put those funds to use immediately to get the radio bills paid for the month of September. So thank you to everybody who is doing just that so far. And thank you for all of those who will. Now, let me switch from that. It's not really a complete switch because all this works together. Everything we do here at church is linked to the radio station and vice versa. And so when we have a need in one area, it's really a need, everywhere. And when we have something like this opportunity that's before us now with the church, we feel like it's not wrong for us to go to the listening audience and the viewing audience to say, hey, if the Lord leads you to help us out with this, we encourage you to do so. We thank you for considering that, simply because Truth Chapel really, since its beginning, has been a church to reach out beyond the four walls of the church, especially by media. And I say that because we started an online radio station pretty early on. I don't remember exactly when it was, but even prior to that, we were still doing a TV ministry during part of the history of this church. Actually, we started the TV ministry, I think, in 2005, if I remember correctly. So we started going on local television about a year after the church started, if I'm remembering my dates right. And then for periods of time, we did TV, and I remember on the TV we talked about the online radio station. So I think the online radio station was pretty early on in the beginning of our church. So I think it's fair to say throughout our history, we've tried to reach out beyond just the four walls of a building. However, a building is very, very important, and what you have in your building can sometimes enable other great things to happen that can reach other people, or it can hinder it. And so that's what we want to talk about. I'm going to turn it over to Nikki and let her talk about something that we've kind of alluded to here on the Radiothons the last month or so, and it's finally opened up, finally come to pass. But we need some help. We need some of God's people to say, I believe in that. I want to help do it. So tell everybody what we're talking about. Are you looking like, are you ever going to turn it? Is that what the smile is? You're wondering if I'm ever going to turn it over to you? I just did.
Okay.
So go.
As we've been saying in the last few months at Radiothon, we've been hoping and praying for an announcement to make, and it's finally coming to pass. We've been telling you actually that we've been looking for a new facility for our church, a new location, and after many months of looking and talking to people and praying about it, we finally have found a location in downtown Spartanburg. It's a building that is twice as big as our current facility. Mm-hmm. It has not only the room for the sanctuary, but it also has, in our current facility, it's mostly a sanctuary, a couple of rooms, and
well, it's not
in
really,
the bathrooms.
I mean, the couple of rooms. One's a nursery.
Well, yeah.
For the other area outside of that, you can't.
Yeah.
We're trying to use it effectively as a teen class, but you can't
so
really.
It's not. It doesn't have a lot. But this other facility we have found, it has a sanctuary. It has a room. Well, it has some open areas that we're going to divide off into rooms to have a bookstore, a prayer room, a library, church library. Several classrooms, a TV studio set in order to start back recording TV programs again, because we want to go back on TV prayerfully by January or February, early next year. We want to go back on TV. Right. So we're going to have a set that stays set up all the time for us to record in. The radio station. Some offices, a workroom where we want to be able to print tracks and duplicate CDs and be able to start sending back out media all over the world. It's something that we've done in the past but haven't had the ability to do much recently. And we want to go back to doing that. And so a lot of room, a lot of possibilities as far as what we can do there. And then, of course, the location was one of the things we were looking for. And it's located on one of the most heavily trafficked streets in Spartanburg, probably. It's in downtown area. It's right near our auditorium, which, of course, is going to get a lot of traffic that way. It's right in a part of town where there's currently some other places being renovated, and just an up and growing area, as well as just right there at the center of the heart of downtown. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of possibilities with us being there. As I was telling our church folks this past Sunday about it, I said, even if people don't come in, just driving down the road and seeing the sign that says 92.1, more visibility, just being able to have that seen every day by people as they're traveling up and down that road. The potential's there, the possibilities are there of reaching a lot more people. And so this is an answer to prayer. But as we were looking for a place downtown, we went in looking for a place, knowing that most buildings downtown are older and therefore would need work. And so when we came to this one, we were not surprised to find out there's some needs on this building that some are quite substantial, including one of the first needs we want to work on is the roof, because it needs replacing. And, of course, as you can imagine, that's going to be a significant amount of money. Although, let me say, we were blessed, and when we were getting quotes, the building that we are getting is actually a building that another gentleman had been looking at and decided that he wasn't going to be able to do it after all. And when he was looking, he had gotten some prices. Well, prices on getting the roof repaired and fixed. And one of the gentlemen that he had give him a price on the roof, we had come out to give us a price. And at first he looked around. He said, well, you know, that price I gave was a year ago. He said, a lot's changed. The need is a lot greater now. It's going to have to be more than that. And we said, we understand that. We get that. But as the conversation continued, he began to realize, because he didn't know at that point we were wanting the building for our church, but as soon as he began to realize that, he was like, oh, okay. And then he said, I take it back. That price I gave a year ago, it stands. And he says, I'll do it for that. And he even went on to say, you know, and I'll try to talk to my boss and see if we can even do even better. So, you know, it's a substantial amount of money, but we thank God for how he's even provided in that way to move on the heart of this man to give us a little bit of a break anyway. And but nonetheless, there's money that's needed to do this. We are going to be selling our current facility, and for those in Spartanburg, if you're looking for a building for your church, or looking for a building for your business, a store, whatever it is, you know, if this building could be used for a lot of different purposes, you know, let us know, and we'd be glad to come and show you around and everything. But we really need the sale of this building to coincide as much as possible with the moving into the other building, because we need those funds that will come from the profit to help with the renovations. Nonetheless, we don't want to postpone renovations waiting on this building to sell. So we're asking you, you know, as whatever we raise today above the radio money, we will put towards the building. But we're going to even ask if you would just call and specifically say, hey, I want to help with that building fund. I want to help get that roof on. I want to help with the heating and air system that's needed. I want to help with whatever renovations are required, because there's a lot that needs to be done. And your help today would be greatly appreciated. And as Scott was saying about how it benefits everyone, again, the radio that will allow this radio station to have the better facilities as far as more space and what more of what's needed there. It's going to allow us to go back on TV, because we'll have that set up. And you know, in previous times when we've done TV, we have set up, torn down, set up, torn down, and that's just a schedule we can't keep any longer. And so having a set that stays up and ready to go, so all we have to do is walk in and record, that's something that we really need in order to be able to go back on TV.
And if I can interrupt right quick, another reason I believe that it's going to allow us to go back on TV is not just the facility, but because I believe more people are going to come to Truth Chapel. They're going to know about the church, where we've been hidden in some ways in the past. And by more people coming in and paying their tithe like they should do, that's money to go on TV initially, and then hopefully the TV ministry will be self-supporting once we get established. But it takes 6 months to a year at least, to get established with an audience that will start to support on a regular basis, a significant number anyway. Some will support at the outset, but most won't, sadly. So that's another way it's going to just enable more ministry. And if we go back on local television, it may go beyond local television. It may be local stations. If we're able to expand, you know, in other cities and other states, and it will also be on social media, like YouTube. So everybody who's listening to this right now would be able to see the TV programs we're talking about. Excuse me, even if they can't get the particular channel that we may be paying to go on.
Also, as I said, we want to go back. We used to print tracks and duplicate CDs to send to, especially to countries around the world, and I've shared before how even in recent months, every now and then, it's rare now because it's been years since we've done this, but every now and then we'll still get a letter in the mail where somebody says, hey, I was going through some stuff and I found one of your tracks, and I just wanted to write and let you know how much it blessed me. And so we want to start, you know, back doing that as we have the space to be able to do that. And also the bookstore, having that open to the public every day, allowing people to come in there and you know, share with them. And of course our materials that we're going to offer are going to be unlocking the bookstore, because we're going to carry product from Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. We're going to carry product from like Lighthouse Trails Research and places like that. So it's not going to be your typical Christian bookstore supply list.
It's not going to be as big as like Lifeway and some of these big chain stores, or like the one we have here in town. but it doesn't need to be as big when you're only carrying things that you know are biblically correct, that are going to lead people in the right direction. I've never been in a bookstore, except the one at Sun Life Radio would be similar, of course. Otherwise, never been in one that would be like this. And we're going to carry some things like Chick Tracts that they don't even carry at the Sun Life bookstore. But for those listening, and you love Brother Swaggert's ministry like we do, and I think you do, or you probably wouldn't know about this station and wouldn't be listening, I want you to think about what it would be like if you had a bookstore in your town where you could go and they had the material from that's offered through SBN, plus some other things, like you said, from other ministries like Lighthouse Trails and Chick Publications and so forth, things that are true to the gospel message, and they could go to that bookstore when service times, before and after services, and hopefully Monday through Friday. What a blessing that would be to you. Well, that's what we're going to offer here in Spartanburg. And so I realize that may be something that a person outside of Spartanburg may think, well, I'm not ever going to benefit from that. But the many other things you've named about the building, they can benefit from. And Spartanburg people, this bookstore, I believe, is not just going to be a place to go and buy a book or a CD, but it's going to be a place of ministry.
Right.
It's going to allow the church to be open and minister to people just about every day of the week, maybe even Saturdays as well. But so much more than just Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night.
Right.
And then a prayer room.
Right.
I want you to think, if you, and I've thought on my lunch hour before, back when I was working full-time, and I'd be on my lunch hour, sometimes I would think, I wish there was a church that was open just to go pray in. It might not be a church that I would even agree with everything they preach or whatever, but just a church setting where people know they can go and pray on their lunch hour. Well, if there's ever been any such thing like that here in Spartanburg, other than when we used to do that years ago, I don't know about it. So there was no place for me to go. But this will be a prayer room that will be open anytime the bookstore is open, separate room, and a person can go in there, and we'll have probably instrumental music playing, something that's appropriate for somebody praying. They'll go in there and can seek the Lord as long as they want to. If we do open it up for prayer meetings, maybe on lunch hours some days, if it's a small enough number of people, that's where we'll meet. You don't hear about things like that these days. So it's going to be very unique, and we're not doing it for the sake of uniqueness. We're doing it for the sake of what is right and what is needed and what God has called us to do.
We're also going to have a board there where people can write down their prayer requests and leave them. And
then others can come in and see that and pray for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's exciting. I don't know of anything else we could do with this building right now that we're not already planning to do. If there's something else, we don't know about it yet. There may be down the road.
Yeah.
But using it as a church, using it as a media outreach center to do radio from, to record TV programs, using it as a bookstore and a prayer room and whatever else. I'm probably forgetting something. But, I mean, I think we're going to be utilizing this space very, very well. And I think something has probably been discussed already that hopefully will make people think, I'd like to be a part of that. I'd like to invest something in that, because it's investing in the work of God.
Right.
Gifts are tax deductible, of course, just like all of the giving to this church. And so in a minute, I want you to talk about what you're going to be setting up, hopefully this afternoon, that will allow some online giving. We don't have it quite ready yet, but you can tell a little bit about it. But I want to say this, too, regarding the money needed. To give you a clue as to what we're talking about, the roof, part of it will be replaced, part of it will be repaired. It's going to be $20,000, okay? We don't have $20,000 right now.
And let me also say, really, the whole roof needs replacing at some point.
Right.
But he said that part of it he could get by with repairs for now, and because of our budget, we said, yeah, we'll just have to do that and cross the bridge of the other half of the roof at another time. So really, this, as with everything we do, we always try to find ways to cut around and be able to do it well, but maybe not spend as much money. And this is one of those cases where, really, in the long run, the whole roof, I mean, we've got to do the other half eventually.
Eventually. Hopefully later than sooner, but we'll see. Yeah. Like you say, we do what we can at the time and move forward. So it's going to cost $20,000 just for one side being replaced and the other side being repaired. We don't have $20,000, but nevertheless, I called the roofer a day before yesterday, and I said, put us on your list.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed. I shouldn't be surprised, really, but a little bit disappointed. He said it would be the end of this month or early October before he could get to it. And to be honest, I'm concerned with the weather that's predicted and that we're having. That could even delay things more, because they may be busy on other jobs that are more crucial. And, if somebody's roof's completely torn off, I mean, it's got to be fixed.
Yeah.
And we understand that. But we called, and said, put us on the list. We want you to do this. And we need about half of that. We need about half of that $20,000 to come in addition to what we already have to be able to get the roof done. And then I'll say this: I won't break it down item by item, but the total cost to renovate that building and be able to get in it is probably going to be at least $60,000, I would think, maybe over. And then the owner, by the way, has been very kind to us. He's very willing to work with us. But when we start paying rent, we'll probably, he said, start like at a graduated thing. We'll start at a certain amount, but that rent will be increased.
Yeah.
What we want to do is ultimately purchase the building. And we either need somebody to back a loan for that, probably, because a small church has trouble getting a loan from a bank. If somebody could be a backer to that loan, or if somebody could just loan the money or to us, or whatever the case may be, that's coming a little bit further down the road. I mean, we if we had the money, we'd do it today.
Right.
If somebody calls up today and said, hey, I'll loan you the money, well, great, we'll just go buy it, and we won't have to do any time of rental. But that's going to be coming down the road. But the first thing to do is to get it renovated, be able to occupy it, meet all the city codes and so forth, and get in there and start having church.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be talking about not just renting that building, but buying that building, because when we make this investment into it, we want it to belong to the church from here on out and not have the risk of it being sold to someone else. So somebody may say, well, that's you got a lot of work to do. You're going to have to spend a lot of money. But folks, we strongly feel and believe this is the Lord. This is the way. This is an answer to prayer. It's the way He's answering the prayer. We've been looking for another facility really for years, we could say.
Right.
But we got very serious about a downtown location in late 2016, and it's taken about 9 months. But finally, we've secured a location, and we're not talking about we might do this. The man handed us the keys the other day and says, "Go get to work."
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of cleaning out to do, a lot of old furniture, a lot of mess to clean up. We've just a lot of cleaning and carrying stuff out, and we're going to get busy with that. I even thought at one time maybe we'd get busy. When we got back in town this week, we got back in town last night, but we're not going to get busy this week because there's a product we're waiting on to be shipped to us that we've got to use in the cleaning process.
And with the hurricane weather coming in,
with the weather coming,
we won't be able to get a dumpster to come in to clean out with.
With the rain supposedly coming here on Monday, we're still praying that it won't, that the hurricane won't hit anybody in the United States. But if it does, we can't be in there working with the roof still leaking with that kind of heavy rain they're talking about. And so it's going to be a little bit delayed than what we thought, but that's okay. Everything will work out in God's time. But this roofer hopefully will get in there at the end of this month and get a new roof on, and we're going to owe him $20,000.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking about this. We need to raise the money, and we want people in Spartanburg to support it, even if you don't go to Truth Chapel. I know that Truth Chapel folks are going to do all they can. We'll do fundraisers and so forth. What you're going to talk about in just a moment really is kind of a fundraiser, but I'll say this about fundraisers too. I really believe that when it's the work of God that someone is doing, I believe that the Lord desires to provide the funds to do it, the resources to do it, by the giving of His people, by giving through them. In other words, I'm not against having a hot dog sale. We've done it before. I'm not against having a bake sale. We've done it before, been very successful at it, thanks to Jane and other people that have helped out. And yard sales, all that's great. But honestly, folks, when it comes to the work of the Lord, I believe the Lord speaks to the hearts of believers to support that work. And when the minister is already ministering and taking on more than a full load to do the ministry, and with us, all the things that goes with it, like radio, there's not a lot of free time to do fundraising. We'll do it if we have to, but I really believe the Lord wants to speak to the hearts of His people.
Right.
And we're talking about giving. So talk about this website that's going to be put online hopefully later today. It is obviously fundraising. It's to raise funds, but we're not selling anything. We're not promising you anything in return except that we're going to be faithful with your money and do what we said we're going to do with it. But you have found that if you've got, let's think of it this way. Okay, you go, explain how it works. I know you're laughing again, like you're talking. I'm telling everything.
You do. You tell everything, and then you tell me to tell what you didn't tell, and I don't know what to tell.
Tell that between 100 and 150. Explain all that and how much it adds up to. First, and then tell how we're going to do it.
Well, first, can I explain how? Can I explain it my way instead?
You're going to anyway. You don't need to ask permission. Go ahead.
Okay, some of you may have seen something like this before. We've done this at our church before as well, where you put envelopes on a wall from 1 to a certain number. We did 1 to 100 before.
So you got 100 envelopes up there.
100 envelopes.
The first one has $1 on it. The second has $2 and so forth.
Yes, and every envelope, you go all the way up to $100. And what people do is they take an envelope, they put that amount of money in the envelope and return it. And then you end up raising a significant amount of money.
Over $5,000.
Doing that, yes.
Right. So if everybody takes an envelope, and some are able to do the $100 envelope or a 90-something, some are able to do 1, 2, 3, 4. But if all those envelopes get gone, you've raised over $5,000. Now that's right. Most people probably never thought about that, but you add it up, and that's what it comes out to be.
Right, it does, and I think it's a way that really makes everybody feel like they're able to do something,
right?
And it allows everyone to get involved and do what they can do, and it raises a significant amount of money very quickly and very easily. And anyway, so Scott and I were talking, and I said, you know, I wish there was some way to kind of do this online and not just here in the church with envelopes, but allow people online to give as well. To be honest, I've spent several days tossing back and forth how I wanted to do this online, but I finally settled on a particular way to do this. And I've created a sign-up sheet that actually goes from 1 to 150. And if we go from 1 to 150 and every one of those donations is brought in, we'll raise over $11,000, which
that'll finish covering the roof.
Which will finish covering the roof.
Right.
We need more than that, in honesty.
This is step number one. This
will get the roof on. And so I've been working on that, and this afternoon Scott's going to finish up where I've left off as far as getting on the website.
At the 5 o'clock program today, we hope to give you a website address.
Yes.
What we've got now is a long one that's too long to give out over radio. We're going to simplify it, give you a simple address to go to that'll take you right to this page.
Yes. And when you go to this page, you'll see it's a long list. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes all the way down to 150, and you just select which one you want to give. You click, there's a thing that says submit and sign up. So you'll click on that. When you go there, it'll have you give your name, and if you don't want it will show up your name that you gave. So if you don't want your name showing up, put anonymous in there so that it doesn't show up your name. That's fine. So then you'll do that, and then it'll have you log into PayPal, and it'll get your donation right then and there. And once that's complete, then it will show up there that someone has already given that amount.
So if somebody clicks on the $10 button, they'll go through that process you just said, and then you'll say that John or whoever it is gave $10.
Yes.
And so,
and then no one else can click on it after that because it's been clicked on, and you'll have to choose other numbers.
If they had their heart set on 10 and 10's been taken, I encourage them to give 11 or give 9.
Yes.
Please don't say, oh, somebody's already given 10. Just go a little bit less or a little bit more, whichever you can do.
Yes.
So we can feel. Now that sounds, I mean, in a way that sounds pretty simple. I mean, we just need.
We need 150 people to give something.
That's the thing. That's the 150 people is what concerns me a little bit. But some are going to maybe give more than they might want to give $500, so they'll select several buttons that add up to $500.
You can do that. You can select several and give on several.
But when you think about that, you've got a range from $1 to $150. Everybody can fit in somewhere that wants to take part in this. If people would just hear this and do it, we're going to start sharing it on social media as soon as we get the link set up this afternoon. If people would participate at the point that they can, we could do this, and we could have the rest of this money raised for the roof within a matter of a few days.
Yes, and we need it to happen quickly.
Right. Yes,
so yes, and I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. I'm working on an online auction that's going to be coming in October, hopefully.
Okay, now that's more of a fundraiser. What I said.
That's more of a fundraiser. It's not just donations.
Don't really have time for this, and we hope people will just give. But we had a very successful online auction a few years ago.
Yes.
And so we're looking forward to doing something similar again.
And,
so go ahead and tell about it.
Yeah, and I'll just be giving more details on that soon. But in October we'll be running that. It'll be where you can go on there every day and send in your what's it called? Your bid. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. And then on the last day, we'll go down till the highest bid wins the the prizes. So
what about people that don't have internet access? Is there any, like how can we let people know that there's things out there, so that I don't want somebody that's going to bet $100 on something to say, well, I don't have internet, I don't do that, so I'm not going to do it. Have you thought about that?
I haven't thought about that yet. We'll have to talk about
we need
that.
to think about that. Maybe
on we could run it on the radio too.
I was going to say, maybe on the 5 o'clock radio program every day we could give an update. How long is the auction going to run for? About a week?
Yes, it was going to be ending that Saturday morning. So. Okay,
so maybe on the radio live we could come in whenever we'll set up a schedule for that, and we'll let people know
have
on radio.
Here to call in.
Yeah, we'll let radio listeners know, and any church folks that don't have internet, let them. We've got a few of those that don't do things on the computer, so we want to give everybody an opportunity to participate. So we'll do our best to not only have it online, but get the word out to other people.
Yep. So that will be a fundraiser, and like you said, we did this years ago. It was very successful. We made a good bit of money. But honestly, even between what we're doing this month and the auction we'll be doing next month, we still need a lot more help. So we're just praying that people are just going to feel moved upon by the Holy Spirit to say, yes, I agree with this work you're doing. I feel like this is going to accomplish, much for the kingdom of God, and I want to be a part of it. And just give. Just give and be a part of it.
Amen. And pray for us, too, because you mentioned this earlier. If and when we're able to sell this current facility, if we're able to sell it at a good price, and you were doing some research the other day that told us that we can probably ask more than what we were originally thinking. And if we were able to ask that and get it, a lot of these renovation expenses would be taken care of. So we're not coming to you saying, hey, we've decided to do this church thing downtown, and it's going to cost you a bunch of money. We pray and hope that the sale of this building and the sale of a piece of property we have in Spartanburg would take care of most, if not all, the renovations, but we don't know that at this point. And here's the thing.
And we need some money up front before this building even gets sold.
We need the money now. Now, somebody might be thinking, but what if you sell it later and then you really had enough to have covered all that? Well, like I said, we ultimately want to buy this building.
So then that would go towards
anything that would be there to go toward a down payment if we do get a loan would be a tremendous blessing.
Yeah.
So there's no way that you're going to give more in this than what we can use.
Right,
what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But we do have some things in the natural, some ideas. If we can sell this and sell that, and get a good price for it, the Lord will use that, I believe. But we do need the help of the people and the prayers of the people as well.
Yes, amen, amen.
So if you agree with this, if you believe this is a good thing, be in prayer about it. Give if you can. We'll give you this new website address this afternoon during the 5 p.m. Segment of Radiothon. And I'd like for us to maybe even work up another graphic. I know you're going to hate me for this, but of what we think the building will look like on the outside, because some of the colors and things we used on that old one is probably going to be a little bit different. But at some point, we'll show you kind of what this building will look like. Let's get some shots, and I know we'll have to go downtown and do this, get some shots of the Marriott across the road. There's an old building in Spartanburg called the Montgomery Building. It's being remodeled right now. It's going to be tremendous. A block down the road, it's going to generate so much traffic. And I want people that aren't in Spartanburg to know what this location's like and what's going on around it. And I don't want them to see what it looks like now necessarily, because there's some windows that need to be replaced. There's some doors that need to be replaced and so forth. But if we could work up a graphic of that and show it to the people eventually, I think that'll go a long way as well. We can show them the one you worked up. I mean, I know I'm the one that told you to do it that way, but as you proceed, you have different thoughts.
He told me, and then he changed his mind the way.
I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. Just a few things. Just a few. One thing I'll say this right quick. I've always been excited about. We're going to have some large screen monitors in 3 windows across the front of that building. That'll be at street level, and one of them will be Vision of Truth. One will be bookstore ads for whatever items we have there, whatever specials we're running. And one might be time and temperature, time and weather. And then when service is about ready to start up, we'll have that one probably saying something like, service begins at 10 a.m. this morning. Welcome to Truth Chapel. I mean, it's going to be, it's kind of modern technology meets an old downtown building that's going to be renovated. We're going to keep that old traditional look because we like that, because we're a traditional church. But it's going to be using technology even more so than we're able to use here.
Right.
So I think it's going to be very, very exciting to say the least. We've only got about 2 minutes left to go, and it's going to switch on through the Bible. So go ahead right quick, if you would, please, and give us the way they can contact us and give toward this $1,200 radio goal first, and then start raising money for the building fund.
Right. The quickest and easiest way to give is to go to our website, wxpsfm.com, and click on the donate link, or you can give us a call at 864-327-8725. And if you don't get an answer there, just leave a message and we will call you right back. Again, that's 864-327-8725. Or you can send a check or money order to P.O. Box 1905, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. But if you're going to do that, please still give us a call and let us know that you're sending a donation.